What's up, guys? Erebus here. Something a bit different today. We're going to be taking a look at some advanced techniques that you can use in Dark Souls 3, but we're going to be doing it very casually. Specifically, this is very much like a beginner's guide on how to start practicing these things. So first we're going to be looking at rollback stabs, and where you want to go to practice these in the very beginning is just right here outside Firelink. These hollows behave like players and that they move similarly, but they're much dumber and much slower, so they're perfect for practicing these types of things when you're first trying to get the hang of it. Now when it comes to rollback stabs, the most important thing to do is as you're rolling, flick that left stick back towards the screen, and you'll see what happens when you do that is I'm facing away from the enemy as I'm rolling. But then as soon as I start to come up from the roll, I'm in perfect position for the backstab. And that only happens when you use that little left stick maneuver. You can try to do that locked on, but it doesn't really function how it should. Now moving on to sprint backstabs, these are a bit easier actually than even roll backstabs. The only thing you really have to keep in mind here is that if you drop your shield while you're sprinting, you're going to pivot and you won't be able to get the backstab. And additionally, if you R1 before you stop sprinting, you're going to do a running attack. So this is really just about button combination. Make sure that you let go of sprint before you drop your shield, and that you also don't hit R1 until after that point. And backstabs are probably the trickiest of the bunch, because essentially you have to be very aware of spacing, and realistically, the only time that this is going to be useful in a PvP scenario, other than for showing off, is during chase downs. If somebody's chasing you, you might be able to get a backstep while they're running forward, which unfortunately, NPC enemies don't really do that. So it's a little hard to practice what it would be useful for, but you can at least practice the technique so that when the time comes to use it, you can be able to do so. Realistically, I don't find this technique to be very useful in practice. It's more just for being flashy. But if you want to be flashy, by all means go for it. Now on to intermediate level, we're going to upgrade to going after these Lothric Knights. Now, they also move similarly to players, but they're a bit smarter and quite a bit faster than the hollows outside Firelink. So once you've practiced against the hollows and you feel pretty confident in how that's going, you can upgrade to testing it out on these chaps here. Now, you can still make some mistakes with these chaps. It's definitely not as hard as against another player. Now here you look at what I do. I rolled way too far and had to take steps back. In an actual PvP scenario, there's no way I would have gotten that backstab. I just rolled much too far. So you can still get away with some mistakes here. Sprint backstabs, again, same principle. The only thing with the Lothric Knights is their hitboxes are kind of wide, so you have to do a bit funkier, perhaps of a sprint than you would against a player. So see here, I take a nice wide arc around that shield bash, which realistically in PvP probably you would not need to do, unless I suppose there's certain weapons or shield bashes you might need to take that approach on, but it's not exactly the same. So none of what I'm showing here is the same as PvP or really a stand-in for PvP. All this is just a couple pointers on how to very initially get started. This is absolutely a casual guide, because when it comes to these techniques, I'm a casual. So just thought I'd share my practicing techniques and so forth. And that's really about it. Now, if you accomplish these things, you want to get into something a bit more advanced, highly recommend checking out somebody like Project Goof, who's made a bunch of advanced technique guides that are far better than I could ever do, and actually graduating to PvP. But at any rate, that's all I've got for you today. Hope it was at least minorly helpful to someone. See you guys next time.